So we are in another edition of Spotlight on Romance. And with us tonight is Ray Brehm, who is a USA Today and a Wall Street Journal best-selling author and author of the book Profit Secrets, among other things. And Ray is going to talk to us tonight about building an author hub. I don't know about anybody else, but I've had pieces here and pieces there and trying to get all the different pieces to work together. And sometimes they did and sometimes they didn't. And although I don't have everything on my new author hub, I'm making progress to doing that. And I have Ray to thank for that. So I thought that other authors would be interested in knowing what you have, Ray, and how you help authors spend more time doing what we want to do and less time fiddling around with all the internet stuff that we have to do.
That's the part that's not fun for most. And even if you like fiddling, which I do, I can't stand trying to integrate things from all different platforms. So that's why we're talking about what we're going to talk about today. Now I've got some slides. This is a condensed version. It's not going to be some formal things. A lot of, we can ask questions. You can maybe filter those for me, Paula, but
sure, if anybody has a question, they put it in the chat. I will be able to take a look at the chat and then pass it on to you, Ray.
Let's just get this slide here and getting my dog moved out of the way under my feet there. And okay, great. So let's share. I'll just, we'll go through this real quick, but I think get the point. As you know, Paula is, what's the word, favorably referred to as PF2 in our system, Pubfunnels 2, and she could have been Pubfunnels 1, but she graciously let Robert sign up first. So she's one of our first members and a power user, I would say. But I started Pubfunnels because, as Paula mentioned a second ago, I started it for authors and entrepreneurs who want to focus on their craft and not the tech. And that's what's driven me crazy over the years. If you look at a typical system, this might look a little bit like what you're doing, right? A little bit of spaghetti code, and you've probably got one or more of these products: MailChimp, ActiveCampaign for emails, Kartra, ClickFunnels, Deadline Funnel if you're doing timeouts, Calendly, ThriveCart for shopping cart, WordPress for your site, Kajabi, Teachable, Thinkific for your training, all that kind of stuff. This is what happens. So we start with one thing. It's like, hey, I got a WordPress site. Well, I want to have a course. Oh, okay. Now you got to go get subscribed to Kajabi, Teachable, Thinkific, stuff like that. And then of course you've got lead pages for your kind of opt-in pages. You might have some AI in there. You've got Salesforce. Maybe you're using Squarespace or Wix for your site. Oh, if you want a membership and you're using WordPress, you need to get Member Vault and ConvertKit all. So, you kind of get where I'm going with this. And when we talk about a author hub, some people might not know what we're talking about, but these are just some ideas of things you might do if you've got a author or business site you want to. For some people, it's just having a site and a blog, right? So we might have a blog, and then maybe we want to collect emails. I mean, one of the most important things you can do as an author is just collect emails of your audience so that you can reach out to them whenever you want. You could reach out if you got a new book or you've got a new program or something that you want to do. They opt in, and then getting their email, that takes care of that. So, and then we use what's called a CRM to automate nurturing sequences and so forth. So where we send emails to people in our audience, and that's where you might go get ActiveCampaign or ConvertKit or MailChimp. And then you, like we said a moment ago, you move to courses. At some point you might want to have a course, maybe you might want to just give away something in a course platform, like some secrets about your book or so forth. So these are things that you can put behind a paywall and earn some income on. We've got things called sales funnels that you might use to sell other things beyond your book or different additions or upsells or so forth. You can, as Paul has done very well, host virtual summits and run webinars and have sequences assigned to those webinars. You might want to do a little coaching author coaching, any type of coaching that you do. You might want to host your own bundles or stacks or participate in them and make it easy for people to get your products that you contribute to those stacks. And then, communicating over social media too. So these are all the type of things you might do from your hub. You don't have to do them all. You certainly don't even have to do the majority of them, but these are things you're going to eventually run into and say, should I do that? Should I not? A lot of times the decision is made based on, can I technically do it? Or is this just going to be such a huge endeavor? And most of the time the answer is this is a huge endeavor. So this led me down this path. I've used multiple products, Kartra, ClickFunnels, WordPress, all these things over the years. They're just like such a headache. And I can't tell you, I was a programmer in college. I had a math degree, but I came right out of college and had programming classes in college and then got right into COBOL programming. So I was pretty technical. And I can't tell you how many times the last 6 or 7 years I said, how in the heck is everybody, that's not technical getting through this mess of software that's out there? You got to kind of just connect together. And so I went out and said, okay, about a year and a half ago, I started looking for some kind of system that would, what would work better and where I could also have a role in helping people get going instead of just saying, hey, go subscribe to this software and maybe I'll get a commission from it. Most of the software I've used, you and I've had that experience with Kartra. Paula, was like, I was telling people, we were running summits in Kartra. I had no control. I knew the software better probably than their tech team. But I couldn't do anything about it when they had problems. And so for me, I wanted to be involved in that. So I went through what I did is I created a list of my requirements for the ideal system for authors, because first of all, there isn't one that's just for authors out there that's really caters towards authors until now. But I listed out my requirements and I said, look, first thing, we got to have a website. It's got to be easy to use. I just can't take WordPress. Just can't. I'll admit it. I can't. It's so frustrating, and I just want to have a clean template. I don't want to have to find some obscure little pull down menu to figure out how to do the banner. It's crazy. So you got to be able to have an author website. I mean, that's the foundation of your authority as an author, showcasing you and your books. A lot of authors like to have blogs, and that's where you start running into trouble again. It's like, oh, well, you got to have WordPress for that. And, maybe your site's over here, and then you got your opt-in forms, all these things all around. It's just got to be integrated. Man, adding a post is like go through this little maze of menus and then, okay, here's where you can post. So it had to be easy to do that. It had to be easy to collect email addresses when you give out free things like a chapter of your book or a report or maybe it's a character guide or something that goes along with your book. It's got to be easy to do that. Get someone's email and then deliver them the freebie that you're giving them. And then of course it's got to be audience building centric. So it's got to have, the idea for all of this is for you to build your own audience, not rely on Amazon, not rely on Facebook, all these other, those are great ways to help you build it. But now you need to have control of access to your audience so you can message them whenever you want, that someone can't just take away your account and you lose all those contacts. You control that by building your email list. So it's got to be focused on that. And then for people that are doing extra things like courses or memberships or, reading groups, whatever you want to do, there's got to be an easy scenario for that. Creating courses, a typical example of that. It's got to be easy. And then if you're advanced, there's some people like me that like to tinker, then it's got to be able to do some of the things that it's like, wow, what if I wanted to do this thing? There's always tinkers in every crowd. So, I wanted to accommodate that as well. And then of course, make it customizable for authors. So all that being said, if you look for something like that, you'd have to string everything together in that little spaghetti site scenario. And the price is just crazy when you start adding those products up because all of them got to make money. Well, if you can get them, my goal was like, it's got to have all those things that got to be reasonably priced. And for me, that worked out. So by founding Pubfunnels. And so we just wanted to show you that a little bit about that today. And I'll let you chime. You feel free to interrupt me anytime you want, Paula. But this is Pubfunnels is the #1 business hub for authors. It's
Well,
this
first of all,
everything we've been talking about in one package.
okay, first of all, Betsy wanted you to know that COBOL was her first programming job.
Me
So
too.
she can relate to that.
Yeah.
And I have to say, when this tech stuff has always challenged me. I spent $2,000, which is probably cheap, to have my website built. And now that it has been built, it's up to me to keep it up to date. So I have to know how to change things. And you put a new book out, you want to kind of change the order of your books. That was a real challenge for me to figure out how to do that. And then it wasn't really quite what I wanted. And it still isn't quite what I want, because it was made to highlight 3 books, and now I have 4 books out. And I know authors that we have in our group, they have 15, 20, 30. A person joined today has over 80 books. And, to try and get those all looking the way you want to can be a challenge. And then I started building an email list, much, much too late, but I started doing that. And, after I ran my first summit, I think I quadrupled the emails I had. And so what had been a very inexpensive email server all of a sudden was not so inexpensive. And, I have a membership site. And so I had to pay extra for the membership portion of the site. I guess what I'm trying to say is that from my very first summit, where it was housed, that cost me more than Pubfunnels on a monthly basis. And then if you take into consideration that I had my email marketing, I had my membership site, I had my website, I had, excuse me, I'm losing track of what I had, Calendly, and basically I'm saving money every single month with Pubfunnels, which excited me. And it has been pretty easy to transform what I'm doing into Pubfunnels. I don't have everything moved over yet. That's my goal by the end of the year. But all my emails are on there now. And although it's a little bit different from where I was, I'm getting used to how that goes. It's pretty easy to send things out. You can customize how they look. I'm very pleased with that. The fact that, oh my goodness, I used to have ClickFunnels, and I had an inexpensive ClickFunnels at, I don't know, I think it was $97 because I was part of a group. But now I would really have to double check, because ClickFunnels I know now has the email marketing portion of it, but I think you're spending almost $300 a month for just ClickFunnels, and you're getting, only a portion of what you find at
I think they have a
Pubfunnels.
147 as their lowest now, but you only can go up to so many things. And like you said about Kartra, I mean, they used to drive me nuts. It's like if you have more than 2 courses, they want $200 a month. If you have all those emails, if you go to 2,501 emails, they want you to go to $200 a month. And the cost of email is not in how many email addresses you have. So if you have 2,501, it's like, that doesn't cost you. It's how many you send, right? So we have no limit on number of contacts you can have in Pubfunnels. If you go over a certain amount, there's a small fraction of a cent charge or something for emails. So, we charge them based on actual usage if you go over a certain amount. But they're like, hey, you could not send an email and be paying for it every month, the way these work. If you got an email specific platform, they just it costs them money for you to send emails. So they make money on the people that pay and don't email, right? And so they're not making it easy to send isn't necessarily one of their goals. And unfortunately, so.
Yeah. But one of the things that really stressed me out was when I had, not with Pubfunnels, because I don't have this issue with Pubfunnels, but what stressed me out before was when I had to zap things using Zapiers from, where I was collecting something over here, but it had to go to Zapier to get put into this thing over here. And for some reason, I could never quite get those things right. So I would get some stuff, but not everything.
I mean, that troubleshooting with Zapier, Betsy and I are COBOL programmers. That's still not easy, especially if you've got multiple systems connected. And that's where there's so many points of failure. I do use Zapier for some things outside of what a normal person would. And most of them aren't even connected to Pubfunnels. It's kind of like, hey, this system over here does this. I've created my own, copy generator for summits and stuff that has nothing to do with Pubfunnels. It just generates copy from a form to a
Right.
Google Sheet and things like that. But
And one thing that's really important, and I'm glad that Betsy brought this up, she wants to know, does it manage SEO?
we had that question today. So you can manage your reputation, which is a direct kind of a indirect way of doing it. You can manage it with Google My Business, GMB, but there's not like, we don't have any tied into like keyword searches and things like that. There's not, we don't have that, but you can certainly put your keywords in on your pages. There's an SEO section for each page, so you can make it SEO friendly, but we don't have any tools necessarily. That there's tools out there, paid tools that are not integrated, but you can certainly use. But I've found through some masterminds I'm in that Google My Business is really a low-hanging fruit for most people, and that's a side project we're working on with Pubfunnels. But yeah, so for most, but you can post your social media stuff, so you can set up posts across kind of the 6 major platforms and schedule them months in advance, and you can have it generate the images for it, do all that stuff. I don't even really do that much of that, but that's just a side benefit. Probably, it's not one of the primary reasons I would send people to Pubfunnels, but it's there, and takes the place of a lot of tools in itself.
And that is something I think that is of interest to most authors, because most of us do have a social media presence. And I know that at one point I was using Hootsuite so that I could get stuff posted on LinkedIn and Facebook and Twitter without having to go in and post each of those individually. But now I don't need to use Hootsuite. So
Right.
So that's another savings.
I can't tell you how many tools I've bought like that, especially like from AppSumo and stuff over the years. It's just they're sitting there, and I'm like, I don't even remember buying them, but it was for that reason. And now it's like I don't even have to go anywhere. I log into one place. I can do all that stuff if I want to.
And I really liked what you brought up about being able to have reading groups, because so many authors do like to stay in touch with their readers and have reading groups, whether I opened up a book club over in Amazon, simply because I knew that my readers wanted to have more than just my books. And I did take the time to segment them as far as the type of romances that they liked to read. But wow, it's really effective to be able to have a meeting like this and actually discuss the books that we are reading, instead of like on the book club in Amazon, all you can do is just kind of make posts about those books.
I'll spare everybody these. I had some more slides on like, look at all the unlimited stuff we got. It's we can talk about that later, but I want to show you something, because you're talking about that. As you know, the memberships, the courses area has been moved over to the left side here now. I think you know that, right?
Mm-hmm, yeah.
So go in here, look what we got coming in beta, communities. So that could be your reading group. This is you won't see this unless we turn something on your account, but this is did I try to create one in the demo account? Yeah, so I just playing around with that, but this is coming in like 3 weeks, the beta version, and you can create basically, let's see here. Let's see, settings. I don't even know how to use it, How do I edit it? Let's see here. Let's go back. There's reputation management, so you can do that there. Anyway, it's basically looks like Facebook, but it's without the distractions, right? It's your own private group that you can have. and it can be paid and so forth. It's eventually going to kind of be the single login for your clients to be, if they're an affiliate, they log in here. If they're part of the community, they log in here. And if they've got courses, they'll see that all under one login. That's actually under this client portal that's coming too. So, but just to kind of show you around.
So they won't have to they won't have to have different logins for the different functions that they want to do.
Right. So that's kind of uniting all that. Whatever courses they've got access to and things like that, it's all in one place. Now, the simplest way to look at this, I think, is websites. And what we talk about websites, I mean, it's just super easy, as you mentioned. These are the kind I like, that are like the kind of the digital marketing look and feel. But I can come in here. It's very simple to find the page. I just click on that thumbnail and I'm in, and I'm ready editing, and I can move things around super easily. I can I don't like this, we've kind of put a blank area in here. Let's move that back down to here, and this is a little bit small. I can it's just drag and drop. I want this picture to be a little bigger and the text to be smaller. I can do a lot of this stuff very simply and easily. And so the editing is really clean. And then anytime I do anything, I can hit save. Here's the SEO data you would put in for this particular page. And then I can hit preview and see how it's looking on the web right now. Right. And so, we saw we moved it around a little bit, but I can check, and it's not five. I think in Kartra, like takes me 5 clicks just to even get the gears turning to preview how what I did makes a difference. But, I come in here and I say, well, I really rather have this footer be red, save that. And then we'll just go ahead and preview it again. And this is how it's showing up on the web. And now the footer is red. So very easy to use. The logic here of how a website's set up is just kind of this view of like, hey, here's all your pages. But if you go to a funnel, as you know, a funnel is about taking somebody down a path. The web pages are the same. The editing is the same. But now you can see if I choose to lay out a particular part of my site or all of my site as a funnel, it's got these steps, right? So somebody comes and lands here. I want them to book a call with me to talk about my coaching. And then once they book a call, I send them a thank you. That's how we do it. And as I'll click in there, you can see this page, it's the same editing capabilities. Very easy to move things around and create these pages, which just doing what I did there. I don't know if, depending on how many systems you use, but like in WordPress or somewhere else, it's like, okay, I got to change the number of the font size, save it, preview it just to see if I like the font. Nope, here it just shows me that right away. The blog is literally, we've got some published, but when you come in the first time, it's still just, there's only one, there's nothing here, and it says new post. The blog is built in, and we've got some blog pages there. Let's see. Do I have a blog on one of these pages? I'm not sure if I do. Well, maybe I do. Let's look at the blog. So I'm just going to view this page as it's presented on the internet. And you can see there's some of the blog test blog samples I've got there. And I've got these categorized by like most recent, but I could also put a widget on here that has most popular. And let's do this one's a little longer, but you can see it just kind of, it keeps the look and feel of the site and still the header and footer. And it's just, I don't have to match a header and footer from ClickFunnels to WordPress. That was one of the most painful experiences I've ever had, is trying to match those things up. What's really cool too, so we've got contacts, right? And this, Paula, but it's just, there's, if somebody opts in, I can use an automation just to send them an email, send them their free PDF, whatever that is, grant them access to a course area or like the book club or whatever. I can also send broadcast emails and have it, a nice saved template if I want to. But sometimes I just need to send a few people an email. I say, well, these 3 people, by the way, this is test data generated, so it's all fake. So I'm not sharing anyone's data with you, but I can click a few people. I could send them a text. I could send them a quick email, and I just click here. I could use a template, or I just say, here, it's from me. Here's the subject. here's what I want to say, and boom, and I send it. And that's how easy it is to send an email to part of your list. Now I might say, let's send that. I've got a smart list here of just buyers, people that are tagged as buyers. I could send to all of them a quick email and say, hey, I got something cool for you, free because you're a buyer or whatever. So it just, for me, it's all about how fast I can get it done, ease of use and so forth. And you know, that's the fun part about it. So
Yeah, and that has been very easy to be able to segment into different lists and that type of stuff. That's been great, and I'm excited to find out about this groups that you can have on there, because I think that especially for reader groups, that will be nice to not necessarily have to do everything on Facebook. I know that for myself, although I have events on Facebook, such as Spotlight on Romance, I always have an exterior, whatever they call it, external link, because I use Zoom rather than doing a live on Facebook. I did a live on Facebook one time, and I don't know whatever happened to it. Maybe I thought that they were recording and they weren't, or maybe I didn't know what I was doing, which is a very good possibility. So
well, like the communities is, yeah, I think that was the piece that, the only piece that I thought we're going to launch without it, get going, but that's something we need. And, you know, obviously that's coming in the next, I think 20 days now or something like that.
right. Yeah, that's great. I'm very glad to hear about that.
Yeah.
Now, I think that you've probably given us a fast overview that has raised more questions than people are putting in the chat. So if you have any questions, please put them in the chat. If you're not afraid to be on camera, you can unmute yourself and speak, but then you will be on camera. So, so let me ask everybody, you can either unmute yourself or you can put it in the chat. How many different aspects of your online social, not social life, but author life, do you have? How many have a website? You know, does everybody have a website? I see Carolyn is raising her hand. I can see you, although you're not speaking. Some people have their camera off. So we have websites, and website, Instagram and Facebook for Robin, an outdated website for Betsy. And so we probably have other things. How many have are collecting emails, either of readers or whatever? So Carolyn says she is. Betsy says she wants to have courses and reading groups. So that's very good. Do you collect email addresses, Betsy? That if you don't, you should be. I waited 10 years before I started doing that. Okay,
We
Betsy
all
says
started
not
too
yet.
late on that. You know,
No,
best was 10 years ago. The next best time is today, right?
that's right. So and some other things out there. I don't know how many people would want memberships, but you know, if you're going to be doing courses, you might be wanting to do some type of a blog or a vlog, or you know, periodic posting that people have access to that information. I know that I put and this is probably the next thing that's going to get moved over to Pubfunnels, is my membership site, which you know, I put various tips and, you know, author tips, writing tips and things of that nature on there. That's also where I put all of my Spotlight on Romances and my marketing romance events. So all of those will get moved over to Pubfunnels and have those in one place. And the nice thing is, you know, you can separate those out between what's free and what's not free. So Betsy, as you develop some courses, you might have some small informational things that are for free that lead people into a purchased course, and you can have that all in one place. It's just what gets opened up for people and what doesn't get opened up for people. I really like the idea of having that reader group. I'm going to be telling all of my readers about that. And I'm going through my head about common things. I know that I do some uncommon things, but
you know, it's the membership or community. It doesn't have to be paid either, right? I mean, you can have multiple. You can have one paid, and you're kind of your intro tier and your next one. And yeah, you might be able to grab a few more people if you've got it on Facebook, just kind of randomly, but the distractions there, it's just, it's crazy where if you want people focused on your particular community when they log in, it's, that's a nice way to do it.
Yeah. So Facebook is unreliable, Betsy, and that's true. I mean, how many of us have gone into Facebook because we really like the thoughts that people can follow us and find out what we post. They can join our groups and find out what we post. And now we find out, as we have all these followers and all these people in our groups, that Facebook is still kind of like hit and miss on sharing any of this information.
No, I mean, if you truly want to share with all your followers or even in your, group, you got to pay now.
Right.
They worked that out pretty well. The kind of the Trojan horse way of getting you to pay for access to your own followers. I mean, it's kind of crazy.
Yeah.
The other thing we've seen them do in some groups is like competitors can run ads inside your private Facebook group to your people. And so it just gets kind of crazy. And of course, then if you for some reason you piss them off and you lose your account, well, you've lost all those connections. Not that you could really count on being able to, if you had a flash sale on a book or a course or something, you said, look, the next 48 hours, and you posted it, maybe 5% of your people see it. And that's
Yeah.
if they even if they does get posted to their stream or whatever, you know, they may have missed it. They have so many other things coming in. So that's why email is so important. It's like, and in fact, for me, the whole reason I could actually launch Pubfunnels and do as well as we've done so far recruiting people is I didn't have to rely on any. I didn't run any ads. It's been all email, couple partners, and we're closed enrollment most of the time. So you can
Yeah.
only get in during certain times. We're still doing great. So the sooner you can kind of cut the dependence on these other places, the better. Now, that doesn't mean you don't go there or do things there. But if you go to if someone goes to your business page, there should be a way for them to click on even just your banner and they come to your site and give you their email, right? So
Right.
that should be, the goal of everything you do on social media is like, hey, this is all cool and all, but come to my site and get my free book.
Right. And Betsy says that, excuse me, Betsy says that private reading groups avoid the Zoom bombers. So I'm not
Yeah.
really sure what a Zoom bomber is, but it doesn't sound like anything I want. And, it's really kind of funny how things can get blocked on social media, that I've had things blocked that it's like, really? I use a virtual assistant. I recently hired a virtual assistant, and I would say every third or fourth day, I get a message from her saying, I can't message anybody on Facebook, and then it takes a day or so. Hackers who jump into meetings with naked images. Oh, I don't want a Zoom bomber. But,
Well, I'll tell you what
so
we do now for Zoom is it's all like it's authentication. It kind of every once in a while somebody's like, hey, I can't get in. It's like, well, we're not going to have any anonymous. I've had enough in the past anonymous questions or comments in the groups, and you don't need that.
right.
There's
And one thing that
plenty
you
of
did not
good people.
mention, Ray, which I think is absolutely awesome for the people who want to set up an affiliate program for themselves where they have courses that affiliates can market for them, is that they can do that on Pubfunnels too, can't they?
Yep. Yep.
And I think
So,
that's totally awesome. That's where I'm headed in my business. I'm not there yet, but I'm headed in that direction.
well, you think about, I mean, just from a standpoint of that first summit you ran, right? It's that the having the affiliate capability there and the other speakers promote it, that generated some cash. It's just like, okay, this is working. This is, one, I'm compensating the speakers. They're getting a commission. It's generated some sales for my premium pass with the summit. And it allows me to, of course, then the emails are there to do anything with later. But that just having that affiliate piece and then having the ability for other people to promote you, it's kind of it's a no-brainer way to get started and actually you'll get some real compensation for your work.
Right. And I know that you have worked for years with authors on developing alternate sources of compensation, which, you know, if most authors, I think, start out the way I do. You think you write a book, you get it polished, you put it up for sale, and the masses will come. And it's a rude awakening to find out, no, the masses don't come, because there's so many new books out there. And very few people can write fast enough. I actually know a woman who writes about 10,000 words a day. Amazing. But there's very few people who can write fast enough to put out enough books to have their raving fans clamoring to buy every single month. Okay, Robin, we'll catch the rest of this on the replay. But you know, it's wonderful when you can put something together so that you have all these other sources of income, whether it's from coaching or courses or community groups, that you know, what you have to offer is just so great that, yeah, they pay to be a part of that, and that does happen. So so you have probably kept everybody on pins and needles, Ray, about, okay, we know what we're paying for all of these different things that we do. What would we be paying if we decided that going into an author hub was the way to go, so that we could get everything moved into one place that is coordinated?
Now you've done webinars before, right? Frequently,
Yeah, I
right?
have.
So that's the, you know, that's the part of a webinar where it's like you're doing the transition, and then you go to the stack, and it gets a little uncomfortable. For me, this is the greatest part about Pubfunnels is, you know, for the right people, it's a no-brainer. So I don't even have to really do a lot here, but I'll just show you. It's easier with slides, so I will do that. But it's, you know, if it's for the right people, this is it's a great deal, as you've seen from all the different costs and systems you need to put together. Now, let's see where I'm on let's share desktop 2, and let's make that full screen. I won't go through all these, but I will go through websites. I mean, one thing was, you know, I didn't even demo this, but we got templates where you can just click on it and you got 5 pages, and then you just start going in there and you got a beautiful site going. But it's all unlimited and so forth. And we could go through all the different things, but here's a quick shot of, you know, some of the templates we've got. Those are the kind that I like. They're a little more modern, but we've got all different kinds. This is what your course area would look like. And then if you go through and start comparing Pubfunnels to some of these other products, Kartra, ClickFunnels, Kajabi, the main thing I just want to show you here, this is almost all unlimited, right? Where here it's like, hey, if you have more than 2 courses on Kartra, you got to pay $197 a month. So we looked at all this stuff and we said, you know, here's all the limitations. Ours are unlimited. And, you know, we looked at all the different adding these things in. So if we wanted like a Kartra or ClickFunnels, unlimited sales funnels, it's $297. If you wanted unlimited sites, I think this is a little low, but you know, for instance, on a Bluehost for WordPress, so forth, it's $29. If you want unlimited domains, which we have, it's $10 a month usually for every domain. So if you had, I had 1 month, I had 11 domains on Kartra, I was paying $110. I'm like, this is ridiculous. Like a CRM, so a customer relationship management, where you've got an auto nurture sequence, that'll cost you probably $99. If you want to have surveys and forms, I mean, there's some form builders that just cost $50 just for the form. It's just kind of crazy. You know, unlimited contacts, unlimited calendars, unlimited workflows. If you want to do workflows with like Infusionsoft, gosh, that's even way more than that. But when you start adding those all together, courses and products, that's a whole other pet peeve of mine. I won't go into it too much, but you know, don't get a standalone course platform like Kajabi, Teachable, Thinkific. It just drives me nuts. All they have is courses, and they charge you $159, but that's their low tier. And by the way, if you're on their low tier, you're going to pay 6.5% on top of your credit card fees for every transaction until you start getting up into the $300 to $500 a month level. It's just crazy. If you need Zapier, it's going to cost you something like that. So we figure it's about $1,079 if you really wanted to have all this stuff. And so we said, what if we could do all that for $297 a month, you know, and then find some other ways to make it super valuable. And we've got a whole Pub University, which is all of our training is geared towards authors. So if you're trying to do an opt-in, if you go to ClickFunnels or Kartra and look at their trainings, it's just kind of like, here's the opt-in, here's this. It's like, well, what about if you're an author and you're trying to, you know, ideas for opt-ins and what do we do in the nurture sequence, and should I send them to my book and all that kind of stuff? Our trainings are geared towards authors. We do a weekly coaching call, which is the pub crawl, we call it, right? And so every Tuesday, we've got one time for Australian and New Zealanders down there for those time zones. That's with me. So we're coaching, we're talking tech. We're adding an AI tool. So we're going to sell this tool separately, but it's included with Pubfunnels founding members. And so when we start adding that all up, you know, we're back to this 179 we're comparing with, and we said we can do it for 297, but let's make it even better for founding members. So you're getting all of that at a founding members rate. You're getting all that at $97 a month. So we're doing that short little time. Then we're going to continue to push up prices. But right now we've already kind of hit my goal for founding members, but we're extending it for, you know, a couple partners like Paula here for your audiences for a little bit. But we added a couple things, and you could tell me, Paula, if you use this, if it's helpful. If you're not a techie, it's still going to be intimidating, right? Any software is going to be a little bit intimidating. We've got 24/7 human help inside the app. There's a little chat box. So if it's mostly, that's best for like single questions, like, hey, I don't know what to put in this field, or where's the thing that goes here. But we also have automated guided tours. We talked about the pub crawl. We've got our courses that are designed for authors. And then we've got a complete template library you can find kind of any type of site you want. But we actually now do one-on-one onboarding calls. So just make sure you get set up, because we know if once people get set up and they see how awesome it is to use Pubfunnels, they're going to stay a long time. And so if we can make that happen. So we just said, let's make the investment and give everybody one-on-one onboarding calls and make them unlimited. And I've paid $1,500 a couple times to ClickFunnels, a couple times to Infusionsoft over the years. And they are like, hey, you get 4 calls and it's all got to be within 30 days, all these restrictions and stuff. It's just like, hey, just take as many calls as you need to make sure you're all set up. Now they're not gonna do it for you and write your web page content. You know, you want to do that, but it's gonna help you get all the tech out of the way, and so you don't have to worry about that. So you could argue that's valued at $1,500, if not more. So the $1,079 a month you're saving plus the $1,500, but we're doing it at $97 a month. The other thing we're doing is if you're moving from another site, sometimes that can be like, oh, it's a little overwhelming. I don't know where to start. Or I should say not one site, but multiple products probably. Well, I'm doing migration calls with new members as a bonus right now, so that we can make sure you get, you know, I could tell you how it's going to work. I'm going to say, look, let's get your PDFs over there. Let's get your courses over there. So we get all your assets over there first. Then let's get the pages built. And then lastly, we're going to move the emails and then flip the switch on the domain and so forth. But that's included. And that is no extra charge for that.
I didn't take advantage of that, Ray. And as a result, I put my emails over before I've put my courses over before I put
I mean, there's no wrong way to do it. And I'm confident you could do it right. And frankly, I didn't come up with this till, you know, that's a bonus for right now. That was not, you know, and it's more a result of, there's some people that really kind of getting stuck on the migration part. Let's talk through that. And I think in our early pub crawls, we talked a lot of migration, but we've had people come in lately and they're like, you know, they kind of just freeze. And it's like, let's just start moving stuff and get it over there. So it's not too difficult. But
one thing I want to have you clarify, there's $97 a month. Is that locked in?
Yep, that's locked. So you are, as long as you stay with us, you keep that rate forever.
Yeah, so that's awesome.
You can't get that, you know, all these other systems, even just to get the unlimited funnels from like ClickFunnels. $297 a month. I think it might even be $347. I'm not quite sure. They bumped everything up. I know Kartra, to get this same package, it's $297. So, and that's, they don't have everything we have, but just for their funnels pages, and Kartra's, probably got the most stuff, but they're way more expensive. And as you know, their support's kind of horrible too. So,
well, you helped me more than their support did.
right. We got on the phone that night, there was a problem, and just kind of, or at least emailed back and forth. Same here. If you've got if I see an email and there's a problem, first of all, the chat team or the onboarding team, they'll send me anything that's escalated, and then I'll either have somebody work on it or I'll work on it myself. A lot of times it's, something I can fix in a hurry, and I can just pop into your account and do that, or just record a Loom and say, here's what you do. So we're just, one of our passions is just quick response. And, everything feels like an emergency when you're struggling with something. So sometimes that's helpful. But you can get this. This is through Sunday night. If you go to pubfunnels.com/romance. So by the way, I think we talked about it, but we're intentionally closed most of the time. So you can't just go to our site and join. If you go to our main page, there's a wait list. And it's a real wait list. You will get invited. But for situations like this, we just give you instant access. There's 4 days to think about it. It's pretty, for the right. I think if you're watching this, it's like, God, that seems like a great deal. Then it probably is for you. If you're skeptical, then, maybe it's not for you. But you get this price now forever. Now, if you leave in a year and come back in 2 years, well, you get whatever that price is then. But if you're a member, you won't ever pay more than $97 a month, or you can go annual and get 2 months free. So it's $970 for the year. So you can do either of those on that link. But like I said, I don't, I'll take that down. We can, because I don't, the beauty of this is I don't really need to sell it. I think I'm trying to remember the exact conversation when you got in, but I think it was just like, hey, check this out. And let me know if you went in there. And you and Robert are like, we want in. So for the right people, it's a no-brainer, especially if you've had to deal with multiple different pieces of software, or just the pricing of all the different software. So
yeah, I know it was a no-brainer for me. So I think people will know if it's a no-brainer for themselves or not. Yeah. And of course, if anybody wants to ask about it, they can message me, email me. That would be fine. I'd be happy to talk to anybody about that. And I have to say, the pub crawls that you do every Tuesday, I always learn something that I didn't know. In fact, this forthcoming Tuesday, I have something to share with you on pub crawl.
Oh, great.
So okay, any questions from anybody or any comments? If not, we'll wrap this up and go on with our evening. Okay, I don't see any questions or comments. That link is thank you, Ray. Yeah, that is an affiliate link for me. So that was the other thing, is as a Pubfunnel member, you have the opportunity to become an affiliate of Pubfunnels, and anybody who signs up under your affiliate, then you get, an ongoing income of 40% of what their monthly or annual payment is. So I know that within a very short period of time, that made my Pubfunnels net cost zero and an income source for me. So, that's, that is how beautiful this is. Most people see it and they see what I saw was that's going to save me money and do more than what I'm able to do right now. So thank you very much, Ray, for mentioning that, because we do want everyone to know. So anyone who has questions, feel free to PM me at Facebook, or send me an email. I'd be happy to answer questions. Thank you for opening this up for people through Sunday. I really appreciate that, Ray.
Thank you. Thanks for having me, and thanks for being one of our TF2.
Okay. Okay. Thank you, and good night, everybody.
Okay. See you later.